Hello, good evening. It's 6 o'clock and time to start the school board. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have all of the board members had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
There have been no changes. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And Superintendent's report, Mr. Jesse.
Thank you, Board President Wiehlander. Good evening, other board directors, student representatives, community members, parents, and staff. I'll start off. Last week, we were actually right here at Mountain View Elementary for 3 days. We have lab days. It's professional development for our educators. This is where Shelton School District teachers open up their classrooms to other teachers to learn some of the new methods that we have within ELA. So it was really an outstanding opportunity to see all sorts of different techniques and strategies being used by our staff that we've been working on for the last year and a half. I can tell you so many stories. I was sitting with a lot of students and watching their interactions, and they were super engaged, ready to go. I at one point had 3 young gentlemen fighting over to wanting to read to me and show me about how they were reading in 3rd grade, their chapter books, and super just exciting. No, let me tell you, and let's talk about the book. And they were, the strategy in that particular class happened to be that particular lesson was around inference, and it was really nice, and another was around cause and effect. And so it was just watching the students use literary terms and with their books of choice, just excited to be readers. So it was really powerful for our elementary staff here at not only just Mountain View, but it was at the other 2 elementaries as well. Staff there participated. So I thought it was really, really wonderful, both those who participated and those also just who were able to open up their classrooms. So high quality professional development. Second, I would just like to thank our community first responders. They were at SHS last week. We had an open event where our students at the high school level were able to learn and get information about those particular occupations and all the skills that are needed, right? I think a lot of our students, they get really excited about something, but then you really like, okay, so then what are the specific skills that I need to get a job in that area, which is always needed. I know there's always openings within our first responders, so that was really nice. The kids liked it, and it really fits into our academy model here. Third, just a quick highlight. Today, the superintendent of public instruction was speaking, and I thought one of the key things that I just keep trying to push information out that I think people don't understand is that over the last about 4 years, there's been a decrease in the funding per student. So if you think about how much money was spent on a student in the 2019-20 school year, you're talking about $12,500 per student. Now, adjusted for inflation, it's $11,500, and that means literally for the Shelton School District with a budget of $80 million, that it accounts for $4.2 million less in real dollars that we could use, obviously, to support the services that we have here. So this is something that's being discussed at the state legislature. It's going to continue to be discussed, I'm sure, beyond this session, this spring, and is coming up. So just thinking about, if we're going to be held accountable for trying to do all the things we're trying to do for our students and be what public education is now, we are the ones who provide a ton of food. We provide a ton of counseling and support for social emotional learning. Of course, the core, getting them ready for college and career readiness. And all of our enrichment activities, all of those things that we do to support our students, which I think are very necessary. It's just recognizing that we have basically $1,000 less per annum to support our students with all of those services that we do want to provide them. Lastly, we had a well-publicized incident 2 weeks ago regarding a physical fitness class at Shelton High School. I've got a number of inquiries around that, and a lot of folks have reached out to me asking, hey, what's going to be done? I would let them know that there is a formal investigation involving the situation. It is quite wide-ranging, that particular investigation, so we can get all the facts around it, which is a necessary part of the process that we have to ensure that we do understand what exactly transpired, why it transpired, so that we can take our next steps. So I just want to let folks know that that formal investigation is underway. It will take some time, but that in order for us to do our due diligence, we do have to work with our investigators and obviously all the folks that are involved. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on now to community comments. We do have a few here. So as part of the regular school board meeting, the board invites community members to make public comment in person and or by phone as conditions allow. If speaking in person, please follow the public comment procedure by signing in and stating your name and address at the podium when called by the board chair. If making comment by phone, please dial 1-253-215-8782 and enter the meeting ID 854-3386-9913. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, the board is not allowed to discuss items that are not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during the comment as appropriate. The board cautions all speakers that it is possible that your statements could violate the rights of others under various laws, including laws protecting privacy and laws prohibiting defamation. If you are unsure of the legal effect of your remarks, you should seek independent legal advice. In any case, we ask that you help us model for our students what a respectful and inclusive community looks like. And first up is Gabe Harder.
Thanks. I'm Gabe Harder. I'm at 1991 State Route 3 in Shelton. I have one child in Evergreen, and I'll have one more next year. You guys are lucky because I thought it was only 2 minutes, and so I pared it down, and it won't be very verbose. I'm here to ask that the school board and district work to strengthen Evergreen Elementary's dual language program and towards expanding it throughout the district, instead of continuing to reduce it. In the past, the entire school offered bilingual education, and now it is limited to 40 new students a year. The process to apply is not transparent and sometimes seems convoluted, even for a household of college graduates, let alone households with little to no formal education. Bilingual education has decades of research showing it is the best model for English learners and has long-term benefits for all students regardless of their native language. Some of the reasons I have heard behind why the district is reducing the program is because it is hard to find teachers and there is not a large interest in the program. As a parent in this community, I am aware that many other parents do not even know they are allowed to transfer into this program from their neighborhoods or that the program even exists. I would like to see the district take the harder path and promote the program and its benefits and provide better support for the existing program. The easier path of letting the program dwindle down to nothing does not serve our community nor our children. In closing, I recently read on the district website that parents interested in the dual language program should be willing to take risks. I am not aware of any research that suggests speaking 2 languages presents a risk to students and families, and I'm curious why the district would choose to present the program this way. There has been very little clear and concise information on why the program is being pared back. What I am asking for is for you to work in good faith with the many people dedicated to this program and the enrichment of our community. We would like transparency. If you can give that, then we have a group of people who are ready to be your ally and work hard, so not only this program can succeed and grow, but all programs that benefit English learners. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Lori Lynn Rogers.
Height difference here. I'm Laurelyn Rogers, 229 Wyandotte Avenue, and I want to thank you for listening to me today. I'm concerned about the lack of information available for parents, students, and residents of our district regarding school transgressions that put our district at risk for legal actions or criminal actions. I appreciate you bringing it up at this meeting, but it did happen over a week ago. It was in the news over a week ago, and would prefer it a little sooner. A few violations have happened recently where we've learned about offenses from social media and news media until tonight, but very little, if any, information comes from the school district. I understand that detailed information may need to be held back for investigation purposes, but the community is entitled to a briefing, at least the information that the district is aware of the condition, and we'll share more when as it progresses. The girls' basketball incident and the gym class infraction are new, but we've still not heard if the school will be liable or if there are any other ramifications regarding the past guidance counselor who is now under criminal investigation. Our school board members are the highest level of our district, and I assume they are kept well apprised of these situations. We have elected you for this purpose, so I hope you will take it to heart that the responsibility of actions of the school and superintendent falls on you. I, for one, would like to receive my information from direct source rather than social media. If breaches in the schools have potential of serious outcomes, you, the Shelton School Board, have the responsibility to be informed, and your superintendent or school staff members should give some level of information to the district residents. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Shyla Rad.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Shyla Rad from the 3rd District. I first wanted to mention, tonight was the 3rd or 4th time in my estimation that I've heard about dual language, so might want to act on that. Last meeting, I shared concerns about the school improvement plan, and I'm thankful for what I heard about the commitment to data-driven plans and continuous improvement from the superintendent. I want to add more to that conversation. I liked listening as Directors Carla and Matthew asked about evaluating, assessing, reviewing, and continuous improvement as part of the policy, and I appreciated hearing the superintendent's answers. I'd encourage the board members to reread WAC 180-16-2202B, which was cited by the superintendent as the basis for the changes in the policy, because the WAC says that the policy should meet those criteria at a minimum. Although meeting minimum requirements is laudable, in my opinion, it is by ensuring school district policies go beyond the minimum that you can best fulfill your oaths of office. The questions from Directors Carla and Matthew were great questions, but I and other members of the public would like to hear answers to questions like, how do you know school improvement plans are working? And how do you know school improvement plans are fair? It's those two questions that I think are really the most important. How do you know it works? How do you know it's fair? Not just, does it work? Is it fair? How do you know it works? How do you know it's fair? Thank you.
Thank you. And Dean Jewett.
Dean Jewett, lifelong Mason County member, Shelton High School graduate. I want to talk about an individual that I'm excited to have gone and listened to him speak. His name is Brad Clippert. He's running for Reichdel's job. And I would hope that you guys are as excited as I am. You know why? Because it has putting Washington's children and families first. Okay? So let's toss out this indoctrination and let's go back to the basics. The education system must be structured from the bottom up, not the top down. You have a foundation. That's where you build a strong, you got a pyramid. You got somebody sitting at the top, like the superintendent, that may or may not be doing his job. Okay, where's your foundation? It's not at the top. Safety in schools. Kind of interesting. Safety in schools is paramount, and transparency in education is a requirement. So we have a counselor that's a pedophile. We have football coaches and broken bones and concussions. We got basketball people. Now, do you think that those are the tip of the iceberg? Do you really think that if you dove into HR and looked that those are their first transgressions? I highly doubt it. Maybe those individuals are already on a performance improvement plan. Maybe it needs to be a little bit stiffer. Maybe we need to have some accountability from the top down. If the top doesn't know what's going on and you have to investigate it before you can even find out, I'm not sure if I buy into all that. The partnership between parents and schools must be reestablished for student academic success. So that means not keeping a secret from the parents. There shouldn't be a clothing bank at school. There shouldn't be conversations that the teacher or the counselor or the administration has that the parents don't know about. When the parents call in and ask about something, they should be able to be informed and told what's going on with their child or their student. The first and top priority of the education system must remain in teaching the academics. Where are we at with our scores in Shelton? You guys should all know that. I mean, Shelton has some of the lowest scores. So that only rolls uphill. Okay? It really does. So you really need to ask yourself, where are we at with that? Homeschooling has grown 42% in the last 3 years. Why is that? There's a reason. Dig into it. Find out. If the board is not happy with an individual, then hold them accountable or remove them. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody on the phone? Nope. Okay. And on to 5.01. Reports from the student school board representatives. We'll start with Aiden Underberg from Cedar High School.
All right, so in the last few weeks, our Cedar ambassadors have traveled to OBJH, Hood Canal, and Pioneer schools to talk to upcoming high schoolers about Cedar High School. And we had Hood Canal students actually come in and have a tour going into every classroom, and we're given insights about what the class is, what we're currently working on, and what you should look forward to in said classes, and what our style of learning is. On January 26th, we had juniors and seniors go to Evergreen State to learn about financial aid, FAFSA, scholarships, and college applications, which are all important. And then Pacific Shellfish came in and did a simulation with our 9th grade block class with our teacher Michael Dallas as the supervisor. And that's all.
Thank you. Riley Sanders from Choice.
Hi. We had a field trip to Evergreen too, and we had a bunch of students go to that, and they really enjoyed it. South Puget Sound came and presented at our school. We had a lot of kids interested in going there and learning about it, and they're coming back to help kids apply. We did a Candygram fundraiser that we sold all of last week and a little bit of this week. We passed them out today. We had bags of candy, flowers, stuffed animals, and suckers that students and staff could buy. It went very well. Everybody was super excited. We are doing Spirit Week this week, and leadership and ASB will be having a Valentine's Day party on Friday.
Very good. Thank you. And on to 5.02, the budget status reports for September through November for 2023 for Brenda Trogstad.
Good evening, President Welander, Shelton School Board. I want to give you an update on budget status September through November 2023 for all of our funds. As you can see, September general fund is extremely low. Part of that's accounting and a timing issue. Without going very deep in the weeds, I'll give a brief explanation and feel free to ask questions. We're an accrual district, not a cash district. So what happens when we close our books, we accrue all of our revenue that is coming from the next year. And then our new EGMS grant system, it's the Educational Grant Management System. They have consolidated grants into that, so every one of them have to be approved before you can claim your money. So in September, the OSPI had not approved all of our grants, so we could not do our grant claims for that. So that's why you see it's a timing issue happening there. So then October, we went back up. November, we were playing catch up on quite a few invoices, and so it's down to 547.
Can you pull the mic down to you?
What?
Pull the mic down to you?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
I usually talk loud. So $547,178.70. You need to remember also during the month of September through December, we are running on budgeted enrollment, which we budget very conservatively at 4,150 students. The good news is we just counted our enrollment for February today, and we're actually went up in February, which is not normal for us. And so we now are running about 50 FTE above our budgeted number. So that's good news. That's pushing about $475,000 additional dollars when those start coming in for us. Capital Projects Fund, we're doing some final closeouts on Shelton High School, still working through that with the contractor on some issues we were having there. So you won't see much activity there except for a few closeout items that are still happening. So that at the end of November had $9,258.82. We do have a couple claims for state match that we can still put in on Shelton High School, but we need to get everything resolved before we can do that. So you'll see a little more money come into there. Debt Service Fund is where we, of course, pay our bond payments for the construction that happened. They pull that money out on November 30th, so that was a principal and interest payment, so that was about $3.5 million. So we ended at $871,503.38. Associated Student Body Fund, of course, is all of our secondary schools with their fundraisers and their activities. And that ended November at $508,874.90. Transportation Vehicle Fund is where we buy buses. We do have a couple on order. We probably will not see them till next fiscal year. It's taking quite some time to get them. So November balance ended at $313,220.35. And then we have all three scholarship funds, which totaled $245,500.76. Do you have any questions on all of that?
Does anybody? So on the buses,
Yes.
the amount that we have budgeted, are we guaranteed the price on those budgets or on those items, or are they subject to inflation?
No. The OSPI actually does the bidding process for us, so we go out there and pick off of that list, so we don't have to do the formal bid, and those are locked in once we place that order.
Great.
Yes.
And I had a question. I don't know if this, but again, with buses, don't we calculate the ridership in October? And does that feed into any of that funding?
It will. We should see it come either at the end of February or March. I'm not sure on the timing of that, but we did do a new report, so we should see that soon.
How were we with bus ridership? Because it sounds like our buses we're not having as many issues as we have,
Yes.
so I'm hoping that it's more of a reliable service and people are being able to use that.
It should be because the amount we get for the initial months is what we received last school year. So ridership is up because we're running more buses than we were able to do last year. We are having a few not running because of illness right now.
Right.
But so we should see an increase in that funding.
Okay, thank you.
Carla, I know you're there. Do you have any questions? Okay. The only other one I have is kind of my usual is, are we on track to finish where we think we're going to finish at the end of the year based on the budget we did last year?
I believe so, yes. We are being very proactive on working on that. We talk about it constantly, so yes.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Carla, did you come off your mic? Sorry.
No, I don't have any questions on the budget. Thanks for asking.
Yep. Okay, on to item number 6, the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at all of that?
Yes, I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we've approved the consent agenda. Okay, on to discussion and action items. The proposed 2024-25 school calendar. Tabitha Whiting.
Good evening, Board. What you have presented in front of you is a proposal for the 2024-25 school calendar that was developed a little bit differently this year. I invited in all of our different labor groups, as well as like our athletic director and different principals to make sure we were getting some key stakeholders' point of views in the development of the school calendar this year. So we took the time out to develop what is in front of you. I don't think there's anything really unusual about the school calendar, so I would just open it up for questions if you have any.
I guess once that's approved, that will obviously be available to the public on our website.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve this?
I motion to approve the proposed 24-25 school calendar.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.02, proposed revised policy number 2410, high school graduation requirements with Marianne Marshall.
All right, good evening, Board President Welander, members of the board, and Superintendent Jesse. In recent years, Washington State has undergone significant changes in high school graduation requirements to ensure students are prepared for college, career, and life in a rapidly changing world. These changes require us to make an update to our policy 2410 to help us align with state mandates. Since 2016, the state has mandated a shift towards a 24-credit requirement designed to provide students with a comprehensive education that includes core academic subjects, career and technical education, and personalized pathway options for our students. This shift was part of a broader initiative to make high school diplomas more reflective of career and college readiness standards. This policy revision aims to incorporate these state-level changes, ensuring our district's requirements are not only compliant with state mandates, but also supportive of our students' diverse needs and goals. What you will see on the policy, because there is a lot blackened out, those requirements you will find in the procedure piece. It really goes into depth. So if you just notice a lot being taken out, it's just moved over. But I open it up for any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? Carla?
Yes, I do have a question. So as I read it, and I'm just starting to understand it, everyone must pick a pathway. Is that now a requirement? Is that the difference between the old graduation requirement and the new?
Yes, so every student has to choose a personalized pathway. And prior to 2016, the credit requirement was only 20 credits, where now it's 24.
I see. And that's part of our freshman academy, is getting them ready to choose a pathway. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. It looks very good. I was very pleased, and also saw that there's some credits that you can get based on experience and work experience, as well as private lessons. So I think that's great to have that part of our credit system. So thank you for your work.
Okay, so, oh.
I just want to clarify something between the pathways. I believe your question was around the pathways for the freshman academy. Those pathways can contribute to the pathway for graduation, but there's also pathways for the academies themselves. The unfortunate part here is the term pathways used for two different purposes. So there are two ways of looking at it, and so the answer is yes, and yes, it can. Both the pathway for the academy model that we run here in the Shelton School District, and then the state's definition of pathway, which is towards the pathways you have to choose for your 24 credit, which is a number of criteria that you can meet to meeting state standards that are part of those requirements to meeting the graduation requirements, which is got a number of ways to exceed that. Some of it through tests, some of it's through specific courses of study, and obviously passing those specific courses of study themselves. So just letting you know that there's different ways and pathways for kids to get to those 24 credits and meeting those criteria, as well as what we do in our academy model in pathways. So, thank you. Just want to make sure.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So this was a first reading. Give us another chance to look it all over, digest it, and if we have any more questions, we'll see you at next meeting.
All right, thank you.
All right, and the proposed surplus of several maintenance department vehicles with Brenda Drogstad.
Staying up. We need to fix this. Good evening. We have a list in front of you of 4 maintenance vehicles that have just been sitting in the maintenance parking, so we are trying to make more room. These vehicles have needed repairs, things have happened, and it costs more to repair them than the actual vehicles are worth. So we are requesting that you declare them surplus, and we will start through the procedures dictated by law to surplus those.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
I motion to, for the proposed surplus of several maintenance department vehicles.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8 is the board member comments. Director Knudsen, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay. It's nice to hear about the progress and the graduation requirements being updated so they match what we're doing, especially with CTE. And I'm very glad to hear through the grapevine that each school is looking at discipline. I know a lot of teachers have been frustrated, and I'm so glad that there's talk and discussion on how to improve discipline in the schools. And maybe discipline isn't the word, but to bring positive behavior into the schools. And that's all I have.
Thank you, and aloha. Director Cronquist.
I like the flexibility of the new graduation requirements. I think it's great that kids get all these different options and they're not all clumped into one group. So thank you.
Director Gilmore.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for coming and providing public comment tonight. We greatly appreciate hearing your concerns and feedback for us. And I'd like to thank Superintendent for addressing some of those key emails tonight in our early talk at the beginning. So that's all. Thank you, everyone.
And Director Davidson.
Right. I want to start by saying thank you to our student representatives for always showing up and giving us great reports from your schools. We definitely appreciate hearing what's going on at your level and would love to hear any of the reports that you continue to give to us, whether it's good, bad, updates on activities that are happening. We really appreciate that. I also want to thank you for making public comments tonight. It's really important for us to hear from our community and hear what your concerns are. And I just want to congratulate all of our student athletes who made it to regionals last week, and good luck to all of those that are moving on to state competitions this weekend. I think there's a big send-off planned tomorrow at Shelton High School. I know this because my neighbor has a child who's in wrestling, and they're very excited and getting very excited about that. So I know that there's lots of young men and young women who are heading off for wrestling. And we've got swimmers, and it was exciting to actually see, I think there was a quartet of saxophones with one of our old student representatives, Richard Beckman. So there's, a lot of really great things going on with some of our students, which I think is fantastic. We definitely have situations that occur, but there's a lot of positives that are going on, and every day I'm hearing about a new college acceptance from someone. We've got some really amazing academically, driven kids from a variety of backgrounds that are doing really well. And I also do appreciate, because I have 2 children at the high school, the 24 credits, that's been going on for a little while now, and it does give kids the opportunity to have a lot more choice and be able to dive into some of the academies and see what other things there are that really are, either career or college driven, and give them opportunities. And I consistently see that in our scholarship applications each year when I help out with that, just people calling out specific classes at the high school that really help guide them, whether it's at Choice, whether it's at Cedar, the hands-on experiences that you get. I'm really grateful for all of the teachers and our school district staff that put a lot of effort into all of that. So thank you to all of you, and happy Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Okay. First, really cool to hear that students are actually fighting to read, not fighting to avoid it, and really getting in there and tussling over the books. That's cool to hear about. It's been mentioned before, but we've got wrestlers, swimmers, powerlifters, and actually powerlifters. We have 2 of them that qualified to go to nationals. That's huge. We have more wrestlers going to state than we've had in forever, and that's all great. We have had incidents recently and investigations, and can't talk about any of that even if I wanted to. I don't want that to overshadow the tremendous things that are going on. I mean, our test scores are coming up. Our athletes are doing better. Our teachers and administrators are, they're taking the classes to become better at what they're doing. There's a lot of good stuff going on. So as far as community comments, again, I'll tell everybody we're around afterwards. Speak to your area rep if you want to. We're as transparent as the law will allow, I promise. With that, we do not have a need for an exempt or an executive session. I would take a motion for adjournment.
I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. At 6:41.